Okay, hi everybody, and this is Mr. Manning, and this video is going to be about how to create some simple charts using Google Sheets. Alright, so once again, I have my Magic Bean coffee, and you can see that it shows all of the drinks over here on the left. Up across the top are the days of the week. It shows me the total number of sales for each drink each day. And then on this spreadsheet, I have already found the total for each drink in each day of the week. Okay, so we're going to create some charts because, or graphs, you can call them either thing. And the reason we're going to do that is because a lot of times when you have a lot of information, so you have a lot of numbers to look at, if you're going to try to communicate that information with somebody else, it's easiest to put it in some sort of chart or graph so that you can just hand them something and say, hey, look at our sales, or look at how much we've increased, or whatever. So there's lots of different reasons why you would want to do this, but mainly it's so that you can show these numbers visually. So whenever you create a chart or a graph, you usually have to tell Google Sheets the two pieces of information that you want to include in that chart. And let me give you a scenario. So let's say that once again our boss comes to us and they say, you know what, I'd really like to know how all of the drinks stack up in total sales. And I'd like to see like maybe a column chart or a bar chart or something that shows each drink and its total sales. So if you listen to how I just said that, I basically have already said the two pieces of information that we need to include in our chart. We need to include all of the drinks, and then we also need to include their total sales. So before we create this chart, we have to highlight those two things so that we can tell Google Sheets, this is what I want in the chart. So I'm going to highlight all of my drinks, starting with vanilla latte. I'm going to just do a left click and I'm going to drag all the way down here to white chocolate mocha. And then I'm going to highlight all of the totals, which is in the I column, I3 all the way down to I11. Before I do that though, I have to hold Control on my keyboard. Control allows me to select two groups of cells that are not next to each other. So I'm going to hold Control on my keyboard and I'm going to start with I3, left click, and I'm going to drag all the way down to I12, or I11, excuse me. So now I have this group of information selected and I've got this group of information selected. So I'm ready to begin my chart. So I go to this symbol right here, Insert Chart, click it one time, and Google Sheets creates a chart for me. So if you get something that looks like this, and it's got all of the drinks at the bottom and it has each column already created, then awesome. You've created it and it looks great, and now you can just do a few things to make it look pretty and move it around. But sometimes you don't get that lucky. Sometimes you get things that might look like that, or you might get some things that maybe you get something that doesn't have like the correct, like this perhaps. Maybe you get something that it just says drink down here and you have all these bar charts, and maybe there is a nice little legend on the side. But these little buttons over here on this on the right here, these are nice things to kind of click on to see if you can make your chart look better. So I actually am going to deselect that switch rows and columns thing, and I'm going to go ahead and show it this way because I think it looks better. And let's see, yeah, that looks good. All right. So a few other things that I can do. I can go over here to customize, and I can add like some colors to my chart. I can give it a title. I can maybe make the legend different if I don't like what it's already got. You can click directly on here and you can give this, so maybe like total drinks sold would be good. And there's all sorts of like little cool things you can do. All right. So when I hit the X, that little chart goes away, or that little sidebar goes away. I still have my chart. I probably would need to like resize this, reposition it, depending on where you want to put it at. You can also, if you click these three little buttons right here in the top right corner, you can choose Move to Own Sheet, and it will actually make the chart really big, and it will also give it its own tab. So I think this is sometimes kind of a nice way to display the chart, because if you were to print this out, it would be a full page. Okay, and then if I go back to sheet 1, that chart's gone and now moved over to the other tab, and I'm back to being able to see my data. All right, let's try a pie chart this time. Let's say my boss says I want to see the total sales for each day of the week, but I'd like to see it in a pie chart so that I can kind of see which day contributes more. So quick review, there's two pieces of information there. We need to know the days of the week, and then we also needed to know the total sales for each day. So I'm going to first select all the days of the week starting with Sunday, and then I'm going to hold Control on my keyboard, and I'm going to select all my totals. Okay, so two pieces of information, and these two pieces of information go together. A common mistake that I see students make often is they might select the days of the week, and then they get just a little mixed up and they hold Control and they end up selecting the totals over here. Now the problem is these two pieces of information don't go together. These totals are related to the types of drink, and the days of the week, their totals are down here. So you want to make sure that the things that you are selecting are parallel to one another. They're in like two separate columns or two separate rows, but they should be parallel to one another. All right, so one more time. I'm going to select all the days of the week, hold Control, select my sales. I go to my Insert Chart button. I am this time going to choose a different type of chart. I'm going to choose a pie chart. All right. It's showing me each day. It's got the percentage, the day, and it's got this nice little line showing which wedge of the pie it represents. I can still give it a new name. So sales per day would be a good name for this. I can go back over to data. I can, play around with these things if I want to get a different appearance, but I think this looks pretty good. So I hit the X, and let's say this time I want to have this chart just be beneath my information instead of on its own page. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller, scroll down a bit, and drag it down here so that it can just be sitting underneath my info. Okay, so that's how to make charts. Thanks for watching.